Buckle up for a massive update in the world of mixed martial arts as the landscape shifts by the hour. We are breaking down the latest headlines you cannot afford to miss, starting with a tough break for the upcoming UFC Winnipeg card. The flyweight showdown between Mitch Raposo and Allan Nascimento is officially off the table just 2 days before fight night after Raposo was sidelined by a nasty virus. While the fans in Winnipeg will miss out on this scrap, sources confirm the UFC is already working to rebook this fight for UFC Vegas 119 this coming June.
Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to prop it up? Meet the Pop Sockets phone grip with expanding kickstand in black, your new must-have accessory. Don't miss out. Grab yours today. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Next up, we have the wildest story of the week, involving the newly crowned light heavyweight king Carlos Ulberg. After delivering a highlight reel knockout against Jiri Prochazka at UFC 327 to capture the vacant strap, Ulberg has managed to lose the actual championship belt during his wild post-fight celebrations in Miami. Between partying at local nightclubs and crashing at a friend's apartment, the belt has completely vanished, and Ulberg admits he has no idea where it is. To make matters worse, he is still waiting on a full medical evaluation for a knee injury that buckled mid-fight. Meanwhile, the original BMF champion Jorge Masvidal is firing shots at the UFC brass while demanding a massive payday for a grudge match against Leon Edwards. Masvidal is making it clear that he is ready to step back into the octagon to settle their long-standing beef, but he refuses to budge until the check matches his expectations. Even with legends like Dustin Poirier suggesting the fight take place at International Fight Week, Masvidal remains locked in a high-stakes standoff with the promotion to get the money he believes he deserves. Finally, former featherweight kingpin Alexander Volkanovski is weighing in on the aftermath of the UFC 327 main event and shutting down any talk of a rematch. Despite Jiri Prochazka claiming he showed mercy to a wounded Carlos Ulberg, Volkanovski insists that the narrative just does not hold water. He argues that since Ulberg secured a knockout win despite a blown-out knee, the promotion has absolutely no incentive to run it back. Make sure to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you never miss a beat of our fight news coverage. Ever get that sinking feeling right before a big night out? Well, the UFC is feeling it today as UFC Winnipeg takes a hit just 48 hours before showtime. The flyweight showdown between Mitch Raposo and Allan Nascimento is officially off the card, and it is a tough break for everyone involved. According to multiple sources, Raposo has been battling a persistent virus, and the UFC medical team made the call to pull him from the fight. It is the ultimate nightmare scenario for a fighter, but frankly, safety has to come first when you are dealing with a viral infection. The good news is this isn't a permanent cancellation. Sources suggest the UFC is already looking to shuffle this matchup over to UFC Vegas 119 on June 20th, where we are already set to see that massive rematch between Manel Kape and Kyoji Horiguchi. It is a smart move to keep a talented prospect like Raposo, who finally found his rhythm with that upset win over Azat Maxim last October, in the mix rather than letting the fight just disappear into the ether. For Nascimento, who is currently riding a 4-fight tier and knocking on the door of the rankings, the waiting game continues. It is a bummer to lose a fight this close to the wire, but the card is still holding strong with 12 other bouts, including that welterweight main event between Gilbert Burns and Mike Malott. Make sure to let us know in the comments if you think the delay will affect either fighter's momentum once they finally step into the cage. If you enjoyed this update, hit that subscribe button to keep up with all the latest MMA news, and remember, in this sport, the only thing guaranteed is the unexpected. Ever wondered how to lose a world championship title just hours after winning it? Carlos Ulberg just gave us the ultimate masterclass in how not to handle precious hardware. Fresh off a career-defining first-round knockout of Jiri Prochazka at UFC 327, Ulberg didn't just take home the vacant light heavyweight title. He seemingly took it on a night out and then promptly forgot where he put it. In a wild admission to Fox Sports Australia, Ulberg confessed that after hitting the Miami after-parties and winding down at an apartment, the belt went missing in the shuffle. He jokingly suspects one of his boys might be cuddling with the gold in bed right now. It is honestly the kind of chaotic energy you only see in the fight game, but beneath the humor, there is a serious problem brewing. Ulberg didn't walk away from that fight unscathed. His knee buckled mid-bout, and despite that brutal left hook finish, he admitted in the cage that he likely blew out his knee. Now, we are looking at a champion who is effectively MIA, both in terms of his health and the actual belt itself. If he needs surgery or a lengthy layoff, the light heavyweight division is headed straight back into uncertainty. Will the UFC have to mint a new belt, or will it turn up under someone's couch? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more wild MMA updates. In this sport, the glory is fleeting, but apparently so is the jewelry. Ever wonder what happens when a backstage brawl turns into the most anticipated grudge match in UFC history? Jorge Masvidal is finally pulling back the curtain on why his potential collision with Leon Edwards is still stuck in the negotiation phase, and it boils down to the oldest story in the fight game: the paycheck. Masvidal, the inaugural BMF champion, isn't just looking for any fight to mark his octagon return. He's looking for the one that makes sense and dollars. Speaking on the Deep Waters podcast, Masvidal made it clear that this isn't for lack of trying. He's been in active talks with the brass, but as anyone who has followed the UFC for years knows, the promotion is legendary for its hard-nosed approach to fighter compensation. Masvidal called the matchup low-hanging fruit, pointing out that the history between him and Edwards, stemming from that viral 2016 backstage altercation, practically writes the promotional script itself. He loves the promotion, sure, but he's also painfully aware that they make you bleed for every dollar on that contract. Things got interesting when Dustin Poirier, sitting right there at the table, floated the idea of this showdown headlining UFC International Fight Week this July. Masvidal didn't even blink, claiming he'd be back down to welterweight by tomorrow if the ink was dry. Of course, the reality is a bit more complicated, with rumors swirling that Edwards might already be linked to a clash against Daniel Rodriguez this summer. As of now, the fight is just a tantalizing what if? But in a sport where grudges fuel the biggest pay-per-views, don't count it out just yet. Do you think the UFC should pay up to make this legacy fight happen, or is the timing finally closing on this bitter rivalry? Drop your predictions in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for all your MMA updates. At the end of the day, in the world of prize fighting, the only thing louder than a knockout is the sound of a contract that finally satisfies everyone. Ever feel like the fighting world is full of what-ifs? Well, Jiri Prochazka is currently spinning one of the biggest ones in recent memory after his loss to Carlos Ulberg at UFC 327. Jiri is claiming he showed too much mercy once he realized Ulberg's leg was compromised, and now he wants a run back. But here is the cold, hard truth: the UFC doesn't exactly run on pity. Alexander the Great Volkanovski, who knows a thing or two about elite competition, is calling out the absurdity of that request. Volkanovski put it bluntly on his channel: "It just doesn't work like that. Think about the optics here. You have Ulberg fighting on a busted leg, likely an ACL injury, and he still managed to land that devastating left hook to finish the job. If you're the matchmakers, how do you reward the guy who got knocked out by an opponent who was essentially fighting on one leg? It's a tough sell." Volkanovski makes a brilliant point. Jiri might have felt conflicted, but let's be real, he was still actively targeting that leg, hoping for the buckle. You can't claim you were too merciful while you're busy hunting for the finish. Ulberg's poise under pressure was the real story of the night, not Jiri's hesitation. It feels like Jiri is trying to find a narrative to soften the blow, but in this sport, the scoreboard is the only thing that speaks. So, what do you think? Should Jiri move on, or is there any merit to his claims? Drop a comment below and let's hear your take. Remember, in the cage, excuses don't count for points, only finishes do.